Alright, another one to try. Over 2 cycles, you can have some fun with that one. Once you get the hang of it, you will be good at it. Okay, this slide I'm bringing to your attention because this is one that gets people confused because of this guy right here, that 2. So I give my little guy here with the word factor. Okay, it's a factor question, guys, so you gotta remember. Okay, so before I even tackle this one, let's just factor the 2 out. So we take the 2 out, and it's going to be x. And then we have to basically divide this pi over 3 by 2, so that just becomes pi over 6. Okay, so there's the factored out part. So that's really, really important first. And probably some people say, how did you get that, Mr. Rabbit? The pi over 6. Well, you can just check back. Watch. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times pi is 2 pi over 6. And that simplifies to pi over 3. Okay, so now just put the sign in and the 3 in, and away we go. So put the 3 and the sign in, and away we can go now. Okay, you can put this all into a bracket. It's all in a bracket. Alright, so now we can graph it. Once we did our factoring, it's pretty straightforward. Alright, so let's get our ABCs going here. A is 3, B is 2, C, the phase shift, is right pi over 6, and our vertical displacement, our D, midline, is 0. Okay. So let's change this guy into the period. So the period is 2 pi over 2, which is pi. And remember, like the last slide, common denominator between these two. So this becomes 6 pi over 6. So now we have that same denominator. See, the 6 and the 6, so we can graph. Okay, let's go through our process. First thing always is our midline. Okay, and midline here is 0. Okay, and then we go up 3, down 3, and we have to do our scaling now, so put some numbers in. So let's just, we know this is 0, and I know that's 1, 2, 3, and this is -3, and this is 0. Okay, now where are we scaling? Okay, pi over 6. So each one of these ticks are going to be pi over 6. So 1 pi over 6. 2 pi over 6. I'm just going to put numbers. Just remember this pi's over 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put pi now because 6 pi over 6 is pi. 7, and so on, 8. Okay, so now we just got it scaled. Let's do our windows. Okay, our windows are going to be, we're going to the right. So right here. Okay, so there's our window right here. And we're going 6 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And our top is up here, and our bottom's down here. And then we divide it in half, so we got 6. So it's 3. And then we cut the 3 in half. Cut the other 3 in half. And then we draw our points. And our points are going to be, what do we have here? We have a sign positive. So here's our sign positive. Goes from middle to top, to middle, to bottom, back to middle. And now we have our graph. All right? Okay, next slide is taking a function and now putting it into a sinusoidal function. So remember I said it before, sinusoidal means you get to pick sine or cosine. Okay, the first thing you want to do is get our midline in. So very important, get that midline in. Okay, so if I go from the top down the bottom, which is 4, and half of 4 is 2. So I draw a midline. You might as well draw your top and bottom, it's good to see. And there we go. Now, you always want to try and start any wave right on the 0. So here's my 0. But in this case, it's starting here, which is not in the middle. So I know it's not going to be a non-phase shift. There's going to be a phase shift in this one. So the first one says I want a possible cos wave. So if I start here, that's a positive cos, right? So let's do our cos. Okay, so we have our A, our B, our C, and our D. So our A, the amplitude, is 2. You can see it's going from the middle up 2. And our B, well, we can go from top to top here. That's a good range. That tells. So we count, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is pi over 2. And pi over 2. And this is half of pi over 2, which is pi over 4. So what I've just done here is done a scaling. Each of these ticks are pi's over 4. See, 1 tick is pi over 4. So let's just count the number of ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our period is 8 ticks, and our ticks were pi's over 4s, which gets me 2 pi. But I don't want the period in this, because I want an equation. So it's 2 pi. It's the same formula. It's 2 pi over the p to get b. So our answer is going to be 1. All right, and our phase shift, right here's our phase shift. 1, 2, 3. So it's right 3 ticks. And remember our ticks were pi's over 4s. And our vertical displacement, our midline, is 1 up. Okay, so our answer for a cos equation is going to be y equals 2 cos, and our b was 1, so we don't have to worry about that, bracket x, right means minus because it comes out as a positive, 3 pi, over 4 and plus 1. Okay, now when you do the sine wave now, everything stays the same. All right, everything is the same except for this phase shift. So our A is still going to be 2, the B is still going to be 1, the D is still going to be 1, but now our phase shift is right here. We're starting right here now. So that's right 1 tick. So that's pi over 4. All right, so we're going to go y equals 2 sine B is 1, so just leave that, x minus pi over 4. And its bracket ends and plus 1. And there's multiple answers. You don't just have to have one answer. There could be various answers. Because I could have started over here and did a negative sine. Could have started here and did a negative cos. So you can do whatever you want. And that's it. Thanks.